Hey, welcome to the new meta, episode 104.
104.
As usual, if you guys on the YouTube have never seen the start of the podcast live,
You're missing out.
it is you are missing out. It is a thing. It's a special, a very special thing. So welcome, man. How's your week? How are things
You
over
know,
in Fluffville?
this time of the season is always very interesting because you see like all the ARPG streamers become like variety streamers all of a sudden. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
you log into Twitch and you're like, oh, like what's PoE playing today? What's Bloodshed playing today? What's Mods? And like all the guys playing, it's like
It's definitely a thing, man. I haven't had like a stable game. I guess I've kind of defaulted to World of Warcraft and GTA, and it's just like GTA can be so much fun, and it can also be so frustrating that I want to uninstall it every single night at the same time. So I usually end with that, but I've kind of been playing a lot of WoW. That's kind of been my go-to.
I
And
realized a certain trend for myself, and I don't know if you're the same way, but like Path of Exile, as soon as we get wind, like, okay, the new league is going to announce in like 2 weeks, like my drive, which I get crazy addicted to PoE at the past, like 4 or 5 leagues.
Mhm.
And like my drive just like is super solid until then. And then it's like, it kind of dissipates. And then the same thing with Diablo. It's like, as soon as PTR launches, I'm like hyped up and I get like everything tested. And after like a week, and it's like, there's no way I'm touching Diablo between PoE or PTR ending and the new season
I
starting.
literally quit almost every time they announce the season end date. Like, this is historical. I mean, even now I've usually quit a little before because I can't even make it 3 months of nothing but Diablo. But in the past, like, seasons 2, 3, 4, 5, as soon as they're like season end date, I'm done. I'm like, okay, I'm not motivated anymore.
That's wild.
So it's crazy how I think part of it is like, well, I'm gonna keep grinding, and then for what? We just the season's about to end, so my progress is pretty much done. That's how I feel. And I guess if there has been a couple seasons where I pushed hard through the end of the season, trying to do ladder or compete with friends and stuff, but that's kind of fallen off. That was more like season 11, 12.
Right.
Pretty interesting, man. This week's been an interesting week. We did have some ARPG news to talk about. There are things, but before we jump into it, let's hit up the poll from last week.
Yeah. So the poll from last week was, what class are you starting in season 21? The age-old question that we ask every season. Wizard, Demon Hunter, Necromancer, Witch Doctor, Barb, Monk, Crusader. What do you think won? And what are you interested in?
Well, first, before I even answer this, I get this question like a madman.
Of course.
The thing is, do you get this question like a madman? Because everybody knows that you're going to play Necro.
Honestly,
so
I don't.
Do they still ask you?
No, they really don't.
Oh, yeah, I get it. I get it. Like,
I only get like, do you ever play anything but Necro?
yeah. I don't know, man. Like 10 times a day.
It's a tough question. It's so weird to me because I was asked this the other day, and it's like, why do you only play Necro? And it's like, I really can't put my finger on, honestly, like all the other classes in Diablo 3 at this point for me, because we played, so much since vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
Like they all just feel like starter classes until you get to the Necro. They don't feel as, I don't know, engaging or exhilarating, I guess is the word.
Doesn't make Necro so one-shottable. It's so squish.
I guess. I don't know what it is. It's just so much more enjoyable.
It makes you feel more godly if you don't die, and you. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
maybe. I think also is they're not as reliant on sets too, especially with Law Gem now. Like you actually have.
I've never been one to care about sets. I mean, D3 is a set game. I don't like sets, but D3 is a set game.
I don't mind sets. I don't know. They're not implemented at least at this point in a way that I'm happy with, but I don't know how you could fix it at this point either. We're so deep in the game. I personally, unless there's some major changes to patch notes, which I expect some, like I really hope we get some. I really want to see the final notes that we're going to get before launch. And I wouldn't be surprised if a patch doesn't hit and then we get 2 or 3 weeks to play it before season launches. I honestly feel like there's going to be another sweeping change, not as drastic, but I feel like we're going to get to, everybody's going to get live PTR. It's not technically going to be a PTR, but we're going to play it live and then they'll have bug fixes and things and broken fixes. Maybe. I don't know, but Demon Hunter is what I'm going to go with.
Okay.
Provided, I don't know. I can really see myself playing Necro if Poison Scythe doesn't get nerfed, because Poison Scythe in the 4-man meta sounds like fun. It sounds like a good time. As long as it's not super sleeper and boring to play, then I would probably do that. But Demon Hunter, I think, is what I'm going to start with, but I'll probably roll a Necro pretty damn quick.
What does DH start with next season?
I believe it gets Shadow Impale.
Oh, shit.
I think, and that's going to be juicy.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's Shadow, and Necro's getting Inarius.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, Necro doesn't matter with the Legacy of Dreams gem. You were just like, it's honestly probably faster to get a Legacy of Dreams gem than it is to even get your 6-piece.
Well, now with the Corpse Explosion buff, Inarius is actually a decent start now. But yeah, LOD is way better. So
with the Corpse Explosion, like LOD is just going to be, it's just like pieces on, and then as soon as you get
the chat says Shadow. So yeah. Okay.
I mean,
I'm going to vote Necro, obviously. What do you think won?
I think Demon Hunter won.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Couldn't be more wrong. Oh, you're right.
Necro,
44% of the vote says Demon Hunter. 27, a filthy casual 27% says Necro. 15% says Witch Doctor. Why? 5% Barb. 4% Crusader Monk. Oh my god. And it just goes down from there.
The Wizard is usually a fan favorite too. Look how low the Wizard is.
Dead last. Yeah.
3 votes, man. Those are hardcore. And they just got a new set. The reason people are picking Witch Doctor is because it was so broken last season. You know?
Yeah.
It's got to be Spirit Barrage, because every other season that would have been dead last. You know? So it just shows, I think, that power is still a factor. Power still matters. And I think Witch Doctor will be powerful. So if that Hydra set got buffed, man, you know?
I wonder what this poll would have been had Demon Hunter not been updated on PTR.
If it would, that would have been the first set.
The first iteration. Like the Necro set was by the time PTR ended. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, the Necro set was better than the Demon Hunter set off the bat.
But not by much. Like maybe 5-6 yards.
I mean, I'm not even talking about GRs. I'm talking about playstyle. I mean, as sleeper as the Necro is, like the Demon Hunter one sucked when you had to stop and strafe and stop and strafe and stop and strafe, you know? I don't know, man. It's hard to say. I'm not even convinced I like the new updated PTR playstyle on Demon Hunter either, though. You know? It's not as good a Whirlwind as Whirlwind. But it's trying to be Whirlwind, but it's not Whirlwind. I don't know, man. It just doesn't press all of the buttons. It hits some of the buttons, and it hopefully it's going to be fun. But I really hope that they change it before we get live. Yeah. I'm going to be disappointed if the Demon Hunter and Necro sets get pushed live and they're exactly what we played on PTR. So with just more damage numbers, you know. So
yeah, it's so weird that the DH got a second iteration, but Necro didn't to me, because the set was so lackluster. And
it feels like a time thing to me, honestly. Because I mean, we got PTR on a Thursday, and then we got updated PTR on a Tuesday, right?
Was it a Tuesday?
I think it was a Tuesday.
It was a Thursday.
Maybe it was a Thursday.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a week later. So you figure they spent the whole week trying to get PTR to work because it was going to drop on Tuesday and then couldn't, right? Or the Thursday before or something. I don't know. But they took time to get that fixed. So they had to fix those bugs. Then PTR dropped on a Thursday. So Thursday was probably like, is it running? Is it okay? Friday was probably spent chilling. Like, oh my God, we did it. Yay. Saturday, Sunday's weekend. So they weren't working Saturday, Sunday, probably. I know Adam was collecting feedback over the weekend.
Yeah.
And then so they probably looked over feedback Sunday night and Monday morning and started doing changes. So they had 3 days to make changes to DH. That didn't leave much time for Necro. That's why I'm surprised we didn't get a second run, you know, a second full PTR for Necro.
Same.
That's you know, in my head, that's a logical timeline to like explain it. But that's why I really hope the season is pushed back a little bit. Like, let's get the live patch and then get 2 weeks to play this stuff. And then they can reset leaderboards if stuff's super broken and maybe make Necro awesome.
Right.
You know? So.
But, you know, speaking of that date lineup, so Adam made a post, it looks like 4 days ago, And when someone asked what the date was going to be, he said, "We'll have more information on the start of season 21 in the next week or so. It won't be long." That's 4 days ago. So really, realistic. You and I were talking about this before we went live. But
hold on 1 second. Let me catch up. When did you say that was posted again?
4 days.
4 days ago.
Yeah.
So that puts it at what? 1, 2, 3. Last Friday.
Yep.
Okay.
So realistically, if it's not announced in the next couple of days, then it's not the 26th. But if it is, there's a high chance it could be. There's no way. Historically, Blizzard has never released something on a holiday weekend. So I don't think there's any chance it's going to be July 3rd.
I personally would hate that.
Yeah, I think everybody would.
Yeah, because like Saturday, 4th of July, like I'm 100% spending time with my family. Like I'm not gonna like say, sorry guys, gotta go play Diablo on 4th of July. Like that's the biggest dick move as a parent could do. So like, yeah, I don't know, man. You know, like your significant other would probably be a little upset if you're like, hey babe, I'm gonna go stream all night.
Yeah.
Like, you know. So
which leaves July 10th, which would make sense because I'll be out of town. So
that is
and
phenomenal.
Historically, that's 100% always the case. So that's probably the weekend because I'm going to be gone.
Where are you going?
I will be in. It's the first time I'm like flying since COVID.
Man. So you've paid money to go. This isn't like a rescheduled trip,
right? Yeah. It's actually like a free trip.
Why do you even schedule things even in like a monthly vicinity?
Actually, I'm getting money by going on this thing, which is crazy. Which is like a weird thing that popped up.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I scheduled this like January, so I'd never thought that it would line up again.
Thing, or is it a personal thing, like a IRL thing?
I mean, we're just going like it's ridiculous. We're just going to like Myrtle Beach. I've never been.
And you're getting paid to go to Myrtle Beach?
I'm getting paid to go to Myrtle Beach. Basically, it's like one of those stupid timeshare things.
Okay.
So it cost me $62 for a round trip flight.
That's ridiculously cheap, dude.
They're paying for my entire stay, and then they're going to give me $200 just for showing up.
So, but they're going to make you listen to timeshare shit for like a whole day.
2 days. Yeah. Or 2 hours. Sorry, 2 hours.
Yeah. So I got suckered into one of those before.
It's easy. Once. Just say no. I've done them a bunch.
No, I know I did it once. Yeah. But they're like, get on this bus. We'll drive you out to the place. And then they have you like kidnapped at this resort thing. And it is like, I literally had to be like, hey, I'm ready to leave now. You know, I've been here for 3 hours. I was told it was 1 hour. Like, what the hell? Like, I had to almost be a dick to like leave this place. And I think I got like, I don't know, $150 or something to do it, you know? And I'm like, oh, you know, why not? So.
Sure. Yeah, they're going to try to sweeten the deal like 50 times, and then you're just like, fuck off. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no problem being a dick to people, so.
Clearly. I think everybody knows that. Oh, my God.
Yep.
So interesting.
Yeah. That's probably the weekend because I'll be gone, just so you guys know.
Okay. Yep. It's 100% going to be the weekend.
Yeah.
Wait, you would have told me that before. I could have already like planned everything.
I know.
Because I'm like, oh, it's definitely going to be on the day Fluff's out of town.
Right.
So,
but yeah.
Scuff.
Curious. But yeah, outside of that, I'm curious what they're going to do with the seasonal theme. Like, I don't know. Because support builds are doing 150s. As you saw, you know, the scaling with area damage was insane.
I thought they said that we realized that there's some wonkiness going on with area damage or something to that effect. Like they acknowledged that so I would assume that's going to get changed. Right,
but then it goes back to that original argument or discussion we had, where it's like, where's the point where it's like it's garbage and it feels like it's not even like a proper seasonal theme, or where's the point where like, oh, this is too OP and ZDPS classes are.
It's a really impossible line to balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you can. Like I really don't, because if it does enough damage to be significant, then you're like, okay, then you're grouping and trying to blow everything up with the seasonal theme. And if it's not enough to do that, then well, what's the point? Why do I care? You know, it's almost like the seasonal theme can't be damage based. It needs to be other things somehow. I don't know.
I mean, there's plenty of things they could have, like, you know, Season of Paragon cap is still like if they can't figure it out, just axe it and Season of Paragon cap. Like people will love it.
If they could do that, yeah.
That would already was the cap, so just like equal true.
Could you imagine, like, if you didn't have to feel the and like the pressure is not on me because I don't do this every season, but like these like Rax, for example, ground 5K Paragon. You know what I mean? And I remember like the thing. Like could you imagine a 2K cap being like, oh my God, thank you. Like I don't have to fucking play 15 hours a day every day to get this cap.
Right.
Like I would think they would welcome that. It'd be interesting to see if that would piss off the super hardcore guys or if they would like something like that. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it'd be big. To me it'd be like exciting, at least for those 2 weeks, because like you're gonna rush the 2K or whatever it is as fast as you possibly can. I'll probably be more driven to do groups than I ever have before, because that immediately puts like a finite limit on how much grouping I have to do, really.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. It would be a carrot that I would chase much harder. Like normally, historically in the seasons, the first day, I'm like, okay, I want to be with an efficient group that's going to get stuff done. And then after that, I'm like, I don't care. Like, hey, Twitch chat, who wants to come play?
Right.
You know, and I just grab anybody. I don't care how good you are, how new you are, whatever. But if I know there's a 2,000 cap, like that carrot's going to be there. I'm like, all right, cool. I want efficiency. I want to do metas. I want to do the speed metas or whatever we can do, the most efficient means I have available to me to get that cap. And then, like you said, then once you hit the cap, you're like, cool, I'm there.
Yeah.
Race is done. Now let's just chill.
Right.
You know,
get those augments and you're good to go.
Yeah. You're juiced up. You know?
Yep.
So that would be, that'd be interesting.
Yep. But yeah, season 20 ends Sunday. So guys, if you haven't finished your conquest, got your stash tab.
I haven't done any seasonal journey this season. Zero.
Yeah, I haven't even made a seasonal character.
Really? Goddamn.
I mean, I knew I was gonna not play this league, so
are you gonna get the portrait frame?
No, I don't really care about cosmetics. I'm weird.
Not the pet.
Yeah.
You buy them on PoE though, right?
Yeah, but that's like skill effects. Whereas like a portrait, I never even look at my portrait ever. It's just like there.
How often do you say you buy things on PoE?
Honestly, I tend to buy a supporter pack every league. So that's like $60 every 3 months. Okay. And then I just you get currency with that, and I'll buy like a 2 or 3 skill effects.
Gotcha.
That's
whatever
it.
Whatever I do. That season or that league.
And of course, I bought all the currency things.
Do you think that you've purchased things just to support PoE? Like, has your mindset ever been like, you know, I don't really care that much, but I like Path of Exile, so I'm gonna go ahead and buy this just because I want to support the game.
Yeah, for the last 2 leagues, like you basically what it is now is like you choose between like 2 supporter packs. It's like this is how you look. I'll just pull it up. Like you just choose between like this guy or this guy, right? Like that's how you want to look.
Yeah, which one would you pick there?
And so I already did. I picked this guy.
See, complete opposite.
Over that guy. You like this guy?
No, the red guy. Where's the red guy?
Yeah.
No, go up.
This is like the starter.
Oh, is that the back of him? I like that guy.
Yeah. But that's just like the starter, and then you get like all of it with the 60. And that's the starter, and then you get all of it with the 60.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, and so I mean, it's okay looking. I was like, whatever. But I definitely bought the last 2 leagues. I didn't love how the looks were, but I bought it because like I like PoE. So
yeah, right.
I don't mind investing in a game that I like.
If you did that, like let's just say you did that twice a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 4 times a year.
Still more money than you pay for most full price games.
Yes,
like
Diablo more than Diablo 3.
Yeah, forever. You know what I mean? It's like you're gonna give them. It's like buying a copy of Diablo 3 every 6 months.
Yep. Which, if you're a botter, you do that already. So.
Do you though?
That's a good point. Valid point.
That's the thing. I don't know if you have to. They're still running on the OG vanilla account.
Yeah.
Fucking thing, man.
Yeah.
So, God, this wasn't even on the schedule. I want to talk about that.
Okay.
That post.
Oh my God. I gotta pull it up. I don't think I even have it up.
Oh my God, man.
It like triggers, like instant trigger.
It does. I don't understand why it was made. Do you have it hot linked?
Yeah. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, There's this
Oh
rant.
no, not this.
No.
This is different, but we can go to this too.
Okay, yeah, this is related. But what were you talking about?
I was talking about the post where they said that botters your time is coming.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's definitely an overpromise, right?
What the fuck? Like that was when was that? January, December?
It was right after BlizzCon.
Yeah, and I'm like, God, I was so excited, man. I was so genuinely. That was like the coolest post I've ever seen. And I'm glad that they made it because they thought they had it figured out, I guess, and clearly didn't. But my guess would be that some security guy was like, "Oh, I got this. I can do this." And then he comes in and he looks at the code.
Whoops.
He was like, I got this. And then like, so they get on Twitter and like, "Oh, we got this shit," or the forums. And then a couple of weeks later, he's like, "You know what? I don't got this."
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
I don't know.
It sucks. It sucks big time. But to kind of touch on this, and that's where I thought you were going.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of triggered me, but like, so this guy gets on the forums and it says like quite a bit of upvotes on the forums, which I'm really surprised about. But he basically goes in this whole rant about how basically botting is only a result of there being leaderboards. Like leaderboards are the root of every problem in Diablo.
I couldn't disagree more.
I
haven't read it. I haven't read his arguments, but just as a generic blanket statement like that, I'll say, like, the bots would exist regardless. I would say that most of the people that bot actually don't even push leaderboards because they know that puts a target on their back. But there are tons of people that admit to botting in my Twitch stream all the time. They come in and I'll be on a bot rant or whatever, and they'll be like, "I bot," and I've actually had conversations with these guys, and I'm like, "So why do you bot?" And they're like, they literally, most of the answers for the botters is that botting is more fun than actually playing the game. The mini game of botting, the botting game is more fun to them than actually playing the game. Getting the bot to run efficiently, getting the bot to go, seeing what loot you get, sorting through the loot, etc., is actually more fun than sitting there and playing the game.
Yeah.
It's like AFKing the mobile games, like, which is huge in the East, like where they just AFK the game.
Yeah,
autoplay the game. And it's like, that's why a lot of them do it. So regardless if the leaderboards existed or not, I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of people that would.
Yeah, and it's like saying every game deals with botting. Is it every game has a leaderboard? What? No, it's people bot because like that's what people do. Like Path of Exile doesn't have a leaderboard.
GTA has no bot, and people cheat in GTA like a madman. Like that's the most
people love to cheat
game. And they cheat just to cheat. They cheat just to F with other people or just to make themselves feel like they're good. I don't know, man.
Yeah, this is like, to me, if you're looking for one, honestly, if I had to pinpoint like not the root, I mean, obviously people are going to cheat just to cheat. But if there wasn't such a reward in Diablo 3 for cheating, being that Paragon main stat grind, and like, would the incentive be as high? Probably be a little less, but I still don't think it would stop people from botting. But like, I would not point to the leaderboard first.
I think it's like there's so many points to go to. Like, I think one, people don't care enough about their accounts at this point. Like, the game isn't fundamentally updated enough to make it where it's like, I really would be upset if I lost my account. You know what I mean? I don't think a lot of people have that sentiment. If you don't have any unique items that you can't get anymore, like an example, like the pre-order bonuses for the wings or the collector's edition wings or any of those things that are just like super impossible to get these days. Like what's the incentive? So you lose your WoW account? Like, well, they don't change enough to really make you super miss it like crazy. They're probably already playing other games anyways. So they're just like, hey, I'm gonna run my bot while I sleep at night and see what I wake up to in the morning. And if I get some good shit, then cool, maybe I'll play a little bit. And if not, like, I don't care, But there's just so many reasons that people do it. But leaderboards is one of the reasons. I do think that there are some people out there that would cheat specifically to try to get an advantage on leaderboards.
Yeah.
They would have a second account that runs. And just because, like, I know there are people that have second accounts that run bounties, and then they invite their main account and collect the bounties.
Totally.
And could Blizzard see that? Probably. If you could see a bot account that's doing bounties, and then the main account joins to collect every single time, like, you know what's going down.
Right.
You know what I mean? But is that punishable? I don't know. I don't know how you prove it. Like, you know, what can you do about that? You could say, well, I didn't know. How do you prove it? You know? So, but yeah, there's so many reasons, man.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And
Season of Paragon cap would help. Maybe, I don't know. I don't even think that would help, because people are still going to bot the keys, and they're still going to bot for better rolled ancients or primals.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And Chad brings up a good point, because they say, you know, like, leaderboards actually, it kind of makes the problem more in our face, right? Like, because like PoE has bots all over the place. Of course it does. But like, it's not in your face, because there's no leaderboard that shows like hours fucking played and like the Paragon they can achieve. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not as like, goddamn, like this game does nothing to stop it. Whereas I don't know how much Path of Exile really, I mean, they say, I hear they're like, oh, they're really good about it, but like, I know they're still rampant. So it's just not as in your face in Path of Exile, unless you're like really into the economy and you're like, how's this guy like driving down the price? Or I don't know. I don't even know. But
I would imagine there's probably a shit ton of bots that do PoE, because PoE's trade league has got to be riddled with it, because the game's free to play. So you make a new account, you run the bot on that account, and it gets mats for you,
right? And
then you can literally trade those for nothing over to a main account, to a money launderer account. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's like, that's why it always blows my mind, because like in Diablo 3, you bought like really for nothing. Like, you know, like there's no incentive gain except for the loot and blah, like maybe a higher spot on leaderboard and stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, you're just kind of a rat. Whereas in Path of Exile, you can go to like the RMT sites and like sell your currency or whatever. Like if you're really getting down into like, what's the point or whatever. So yeah. So of course there'd be botting in a game where you can sell items for cash or sell currency for cash, of course.
And I think that's what started it with Diablo in the first place. Like the first iteration of bots was because of the real money auction house.
Totally.
100%. And so, you know, I don't know if that's still like the exploits that were discovered back then by people who saw the profit in it are still what they're using today or what, but I don't know. I disagree with that post. I do think that leaderboards are a contributor to botting to an extent, but
the root of the population,
super overstatement. Like the root of the problem is just that most like there is a huge populace of people who are just rats, you know, and they're going to cheat if they can. And if Blizzard, I think also there's no fear in it at this point. Like people openly talk about it. Like people didn't used to openly talk about it, and now they openly talk about it. It's all over forums. And I think if people lost their accounts, if there were like hundreds of thousands of people be like, I lost my account the day after I bought it or the week after I bought it, then people would be like, fuck that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not losing my account, you know? So.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta wonder what would actually happen.
You know, the only thing that I can hope for, like Diablo 3 is always going to be like this. Like it's not going to change. I've accepted that finally over, you know, the last couple seasons. I've finally accepted that, especially after the promise, and then it didn't, you know, come to fruition. But I hope this lesson is driven forward for D4. I hope that D4 team really gets like the frustration and pain points that cheating has, the impact it has on their game, all of the negative shit that comes along with it. And I really hope that they have a real focus and they put some money and some smart people behind the security and anti-cheat for Diablo 4. I hope it's fucking immaculate, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, get them.
Right. I agree. But at the same time, you know, like, okay, what we heard at BlizzCon 2019, and we're like, what about the leaderboards? And they're like, yeah, only like 1% of players play leaderboards, so fuck that shit. And so like that was super duper upsetting.
Yeah.
So
it's like, and then GGG had the exact opposite response, which we've talked about.
Right.
They're like, yeah, we make content for the 1% because everybody else wants to be that, and it helps motivate. It's like, yeah, I agree.
Sorry,
I don't know. That's there's other things they can do besides leaderboards. PvP, for example.
Well,
Like
yeah, but
okay,
I know like PvP, like that's the competitive aspect, but like, what about PvE competition? Like, what about that? So
maybe they're gonna run. Hopefully, they're gonna have tracking systems like PoE does now, where they can do seasons and leagues and or whatever, and they can first to kill this, first to kill that. But there needs to be more than that.
yeah,
Like,
I agree.
are they gonna have portrait frames in game that show how many Lilith kills you have? Like that could be a thing. Like Destiny does something similar to that. Like, Destiny will have a thing like XYZ Guardians killed or, so many raid completions. And so if you see somebody that's got the raid emblem on and it's got 1,000, 1,000 number on there, you're like, holy shit, he's done the raid 1,000 times. This guy's penis is huge. You know what I mean? Like I've done it 5. You know what I mean? Or I've done it 0. So there's ways that they can kind of put things like that in the game, but I still think not having some form of leaderboard. But what if they don't have an activity planned for end game that's leaderboard-ish? Like if greater rifts aren't a thing, like what are they going to have? You ran a dungeon? Like how do if the dungeons aren't timed, like what do you
It would be such a massive oversight, in my opinion, if there was no competitive PvE end game content.
So like that's something that I guess we could mull over, and like maybe the community could give ideas. What's competitive PvE in ARPGs? Like what are examples? Greater rifts are what we know from Diablo 3. What is competitive? Like in PoE, the stuff that I seen is okay. The first SSF hardcore kill of XYZ boss. This league gets something. Like they're giving away Alienware laptop this season, right? So or this league. So like what other things could there be? What else could you do? But we got to see more end game before we can even come close to answering that.
True.
If all we get are these dungeons.
True. But super sidetrack. The poll for next week.
We haven't even got to this yet. Damn.
I know, right? Is not Diablo rated, which I know people love. But it's the same question, but for Path of Exile. So Path of Exile's league starts this Friday. PoE Harvest. Put on your farmer's hat and get ready. Are you starting Marauder, Duelist, Ranger, Shadow, Witch, Templar, or Scion?
Okay, when am I going to start, Fluff?
Are you doing the thing that I told you to do, or what are you talking about?
When am I going to start?
I mean,
I don't know, dude. I'm gonna be like, Fluff, what am I playing? I'm gonna let you tell me. You're gonna 100% pick. You have sole power.
Okay.
Over what I'm gonna play.
Are you doing SSF?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. What do you think?
I mean,
everybody in my chat and my community will tell me not to do SSF. They'll say do Trade League because then you can actually get a build that's fun and you'll enjoy the game. And then part of me agrees with that. And part of me says, if I do SSF, I'm going to be forced to learn the mechanics of the game, which may not be as fun as getting the big dick items and smashing the whole screen. But I will understand how things work, which will help me in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've told you time and time again. Yeah, I agree with that assessment.
So which one is it? I don't know. I'm going to let you pick.
I don't know. Here's the thing. It's like, are we only going to get 1 week on Path of Exile before the Diablo 3 season starts? Or are we going to get July 10th and have like 3 weeks? Yeah.
Before Friday. We have to find out before Friday. I mean, Sunday is when the season ends. Are they not going to have a start date before the last season ends? There's surely we'll get it. We'll get news.
Yeah.
For
me, it's SSF all the way, of course. But
yeah. I think in all honesty, I think I would lean towards SSF. I think learning some basic mechanics would be better than just doing it. But
you can always hit the give up button as well and like migrate your SSF character.
The give up button.
Yeah.
Is that what it's labeled in game? Give up.
It's called migrate, but it's the give up button.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see. What are you gonna go with? What are you playing?
I mean, my favorite's Shadow. I love Assassin. But I don't know. I'm undecided. We hit the patch notes today, and we'll hit that in a second. But I'm a big Chaos Poison build fan, and there's nothing like new for either of those.
Don't do the poll either. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Well, everybody will know next week because it hits Friday. So.
Exactly. But speaking of which, we got a lot in the Path of Exile realm in the world.
Let me go grab a sandwich. I'll be back. Like 10 minutes.
Watch his eyes glaze over, chat. Okay, so first we got the development manifesto, which is really cool. They do, league after league. It's basically like the developers saying like, this is what we're thinking, and these are the reasons we decided to do the things we did, and like here, like the kind of the high level changes that are going to impact the game the most. And so, two-handed weapons have kind of fallen out of the meta for quite some time. They hit slow and they don't compare to like dual wield and one-handers, but they're kind of bringing those back in full effect, like increasing their damage and just making like slam attacks like just more incentivized for two-hand weapons. And two-hand weapons are cool because like they are 6-link, so you technically have an armor that's a 6-link and a two-hand that's 6-link, so it opens up a lot of possibilities. So that's kind of exciting, is that they're going to be like pretty high functioning again, and not just for Cyclone or something. Of course, with that, they're nerfing dual wielding. I guess dual wielding had like a 15% or 20% damage multiplier for some reason, and attack speed multiplier or something like that. So they're getting rid of the damage part of that. I really like, only thing I ever played was dual wield was Venom Gyre, which was my favorite build probably of all time in PoE. So it's a small nerf, but it's fine. There's other things that'll like bring up the power every league, that will make up for it. So it's not a big deal. Brands were so fucking boring before. So it sounds like they're making them more clicky. Like there's less just like snooze and have them trigger, and it just sounds like they're just basically just more interactive than these to be. They're adding a ton of new brands. There was a crazy OP build last league, Archmage brand, a brand that was just insane. It's been nerfed into the ground, so that's good. Do you know what brands are, by the way?
No, I was actually reading the thing to see. Like, I know what war cries are. I think I've used that before, but what were the brands exactly?
So the brands is like you attach like a, I don't even know, like a sigil or something to an enemy, and then like it has a tick rate, and that can like spread to nearby dudes.
So kind of like a dot
after they die. Right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's like a dot. It's kind of like what's it called? Fuck.
Like a hunter's mark.
What's that Witch Doctor one? Where like haunt. It's kind of like haunt. Like it goes to a dude, very specific dude that you target, and then like when he dies, it'll go to like the next dude.
It'll spread out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then you can hit a button to make all of them like come back to you, and like they'll hit stuff in between you and stuff. Yeah, but then like you said, war cries. It's like shouts from Diablo. No one used them for such a long time, and they've made them all seemingly pretty cool. Like there's a whole video on all the new stuff that they've done, so it's pretty cool. Looks like some cool new ones added, but mostly focus on seemingly two-hand stuff. Stun. This one's a little controversial because like they're making it easier to stun, it seems like overall, but they're also giving bosses stun immunity. Like my bosses have 2 seconds of stun immunity after they've been stunned, and like the big bosses have 4 seconds. And I know like Quinn69 in particular, like he loved to just like have chain stun builds where he could like keep Uber Elder just constantly stunned. So he's not super happy about this change, but but I mean I guess it makes sense because you don't want to just like sleep through the game because everything's permanently stunned. But there is some skill in like min-maxing stun, so take that as you will. They're actually making some ascendancy changes, which we haven't seen from Path of Exile in a while. Chieftain, Berserker, and Hierophant. We could drill down to those, but we'll be here all night. And then they're working a lot of the areas of the skill tree. We haven't actually got to see these yet because before it only went up like 50 minutes before the podcast started. And I blew through those patch notes, and we still don't have a Path of Building fork, so we can't see all the new skill changes, but they make it sound pretty like comprehensive, so that's pretty exciting. But yeah, just insane stuff. Cluster jewels are like, I was a little worried.
The new things that they just added.
Exactly. So I had some concern, like the timeless jewels from Legion after Legion was over, they were like really, really hard to get. And they've also actually addressed that issue in this patch as well, as they've added those timeless jewels into the skill tree basically. So now they're like always there and not as crazy hard to get. But on top of that, so like I was worried that we weren't going to see cluster jewels as much, and they're like build defining. But now it's like a guaranteed. You have a guaranteed chance to get them if you just see a delirium and make it to stage 3. And if you make it stage 5, you get 2, or stage 7, you get 3. So it's like they're going to drop pretty well, assuming your character is somewhat powerful. VMS, Foul Molten Shell, finally got a nerf. It was kind of like the best defensive skill that you like everyone had to run, even if you weren't. It's supposed to be like the armor defensive skill, but like evasion and energy shield builds were using it still because it was just like that good. But it's finally been nerfed, so it's like more for armor builds now. Cyclone had like stun immunity before for some reason. I didn't actually even know that was a thing. It makes sense because I've never been stun while I was in Cyclone, but I didn't know that was a thing. But obviously, like, wow, that's just another thing that Cyclone just was god tier. I still think it's going to be insanely good. So Archmage was nerfed, which we talked about already. And they reworked a lot of the old uniques, just like, Diablo 3 does kind of season after season, except for they did, a lot more, obviously, like 50, I think they said. So like a lot of them are more relevant and to go with a lot of the 2-hand changes. So that's good. And they had to change like all the 2-hand uniques basically to go with these changes. So that's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. Threshold jewels are changed. So I don't know if you ever had to deal with threshold jewels. So these have always been like kind of a thorn in my side in Path of Exile. It's like if I want to play this, like say Cyclone, like I want to play Cyclone, but like I can't in SSF, I can't really play Cyclone unless I get this specific Cyclone jewel that enhances Cyclone to just basically perform at like a decent level. Like you just had to get it, and there's like, I don't even know, like 15 to 20 skills that you just like kind of off limits for SSF because they're all locked behind these like threshold jewels. But now they're like making them so they just like alter the school. They don't make it so you have to run them basically. So that's good.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
now how would you get them before? Why don't they just give you a way to target them? I could have fixed the problem too.
There's no way to target really. I mean, there's cards for some uniques, but more often than not, there's really no way to target most things in Path of Exile. You can like Ancient Orb other jewels, but there's so many jewels in the game that like the chances of you getting what you want would be super slim. A lot of them come through like the campaign, like going acts 1 through 10. Like you can get a lot of threshold jewels through the campaign, which I think makes sense. And if you had to have a threshold jewel, which is kind of a stupid game design, but which they've fixed, but I always thought it was. It seems like that should have given it as part of the campaign. Some of them you could, but some of them you just had to like hope to get lucky, which was really, really annoying. But yeah, and then so that's kind of their development manifesto. And then if you go into the the freaking patch notes, good lord, right? Like it's that's not even the patch notes actually. It's insane. But I will say like more so with this one than ones in the past. Nothing really like surprised me, I guess. Like it seems like in the past patch notes, like there's something that I didn't know about until the patch notes hit, but it seemed like they did a pretty good job of like slowly, sprinkling in the content over the social media and on, I don't know if you are on their Discord, but they have like an automatic bot, which is really cool actually. Like it'll ping, I can import it into my server, into my PoE channel on my Discord server. Yeah. And automatically like post whatever they post, like whatever official Path of Exile posts, it'll post it into my PoE Discord channel. And so it's like immediate like juice on anything that gets announced, which is really, really nice. That's cool. They did a pretty good job of like slowly trickling in the content, I feel like. But yeah, I mean, another crazy, crazy league from Path of Exile with a ton of changes. Some of them are controversial, but I think overall, these crafting changes are going to be like, as much as people are like coining this like the Nerf League or something like that, but these crafting changes are insane. Like the crafting mods you're going to get from the Harvest, like we can't even fathom how good they're going to be. They're like Chris Wilson has said, like they might be too broken and we might not like bring them over to like non-season basically.
Except for all your stuff will carry over with you, so farm your ass off during the season.
I mean, he said like verbatim, like, you know, like I know Cyberpunk comes out this league, but like you're gonna want to play this league because the items are gonna be like that good. So
Cyberpunk, oh my god,
cares?
it's interesting. I mean, they got a lot of stuff, man. They got a lot of juice every single patch. There's always something, you know.
Yeah.
So all you PoE players,
nutty.
You know, you don't know what you got till it's gone, guys. Right. You know, it'd be kind of crazy.
Right.
Did you have more stuff that you wanted to hit?
You touched on it earlier, super briefly, but another really cool thing, Path of Exile Students League, and I just love this when games do this competition, right? So they're giving away an Alienware laptop for the person to kill like all the new bosses. It sounds like there's multiple new bosses, which is cool in Harvest. But the first person to do all of them gets the laptop, and then like the first, I don't even know, it's like up until a certain day, if you kill him, all the bosses, you get entered in a raffle for like another one, basically.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like stuff like that, man.
Yeah,
man. It's pretty cool that they're running these competitions. I think it really promotes that it gives a little bit of like nitro to the top guys, the guys that are like, you know, elitist of the elite. I think it makes them step their game up a little bit more, which then ultimately just raises everybody up because you get to see that stuff. So,
right,
pretty cool. It's pretty cool GGG to do, you know, and also it's a win-win for them. Like, what are they gonna? So they're gonna give away 2 Alienware laptops. Let's just say they're like super trick. They're 5K laptops, right? So they're gonna spend 10 grand for marketing promotion.
Yeah,
basically how you can think of it. Because
and there's nothing in there that even says like it's only gonna be 2. Like it says it's a guaranteed if you get first, but then it says you're entering the raffle. It doesn't say to like give out 1 more. Like for all we know, it could be like 10 more or something crazy. Yeah,
but it's just marketing. It's like
amazing
smart marketing. It's like take a picture of your Switch playing Diablo 3. We'll give you a Switch, you know,
amazing marketing. Yeah,
it's like that kind of marketing.
Yeah.
You know? Hey,
toxic.
If you play PoE, we'll give you a computer to play PoE on.
Blizz, you hear this? Like this guy, you invite this guy to BlizzCon? Come
on. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and some other stuff came out this week though.
Yeah.
Torchlight 3 came out this week, and I was like super excited when I found out. And then I went and I watched some footage of it. And then I had the buy button highlighted, and then I kind of backed off that. And I was like, you know, this doesn't look too compelling. It looks pretty kind of sleeper. I'm like, you know what? I know Fluff's going to buy it because you'll buy every ARPG. Yeah. So I'm like, if Fluff tells me it's good, I'll buy it and we'll play. And if Fluff tells me to hold off, then I'll take that. So give me your review, man. What did you think?
Sure. So it is early access. It's not technically a release.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like
yeah.
Wilson did that for a long time.
Yeah. It is $30. I think Wilson wasn't early access. It was release when it finally came out.
Oh, I thought you could buy Wilson early access.
You get a head start, I think, like 2 days or something like that.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of a different game. So I could be thinking of like Grim Dawn or
probably. Yeah. But yeah, so it is an early access, so meaning it's not all the things. So you don't have access to, it sounds like, and I don't know this because I haven't reached it myself, but it sounds like in the game right now there's only 2x. There's currently 0 end game to do. And apparently over the weekend, and I wasn't here, but it released over the weekend apparently, and it was riddled with every basically release that's happened in the past 5 years, which it got a ton of negative Steam reviews because like it wasn't up, and people are like calling it like offline whatever game. But honestly, like that shit doesn't really. I mean, it bothers me, but at the same time, like everyone gets it wrong. Everyone gets it wrong, seemingly. Like I think the only one, chat, we were trying to come up with a game that has something like a flawless release, and I think Valorant maybe was like the only one I could think of.
Well, that's because they tempered the shit out of it too. You had to like get a drop from a streamer who
True.
had drops enabled, and then they controlled that.
Yeah.
So
It's like a trickle
they
in
they
traffic.
throttled their
Yeah.
release like
It's
a
smart.
madman,
It is
which was
smart.
super smart. Yeah. So let's talk about gameplay though.
Yeah.
What did you think? Like, so initially when I look at it, like I'm like, okay, cool, it's ARPG. I'm super interested. I'm gonna go buy it. And then I was like, wait a minute, before I buy it, let me just go see what it's about because a couple people are already playing it. The art style we've already talked about isn't really my thing, but that's not make or break for me. It doesn't matter, sure, but am I not gonna buy it because of that? Nah. So, um, but then I started watching gameplay. So what do you think?
Yeah,
Art style,
so the art
gameplay?
style it's the Fortnite of ARPGs. It's very,
Mhm.
very cartoony. For me that's a big turnoff, but at least it's like this gen versus like, looking at Diablo 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you can see, I'm pulling up right now for you guys that are listening in. It is it is that Fortnite feel. As far as depth is concerned, like you have basically 2 skill trees, and I'm waiting to load it in the game. This could take. I don't know why. This game's only like 6 gigs, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But the loading times are like, what? The game is like 2-bit graphics. Why does this take so long? It's crazy.
It's probably waiting for server requests would be my guess. But
Servers are
yeah.
down in the US apparently. Why would it let me log in? I don't know. We'll see if it logs in. But basically, yeah, okay. No connection. Okay, well, there's some review for you.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That's the other thing is like you'll hit like play or like you'll go to zone and you're like, oh, cool, it happened fast. But like you're just back to where you were. And it's like, it doesn't even give you like an error message or anything like that. It's just like, nope, try again.
Yeah. So the early release is full of bugs, which is
Yeah,
okay.
expected. Sure.
That's okay. Yeah. It's like it happens.
But you load into the game, you've got 2, I wouldn't even call them skill trees. You've got 2 panels of skills. I think there's 7 per page, and there's only 2 pages. Yeah, it's not going to load in. And each skill has like points you can invest. So like you can invest like I think up to 10 points in each skill, and it gets like more powerful and sometimes unlocks like passive things, and maybe even passive skills that interact with some of the other skills that you have. So that's okay, but it is super simplistic. There's no skill tree. There's not a lot of selection, and like I don't think everything's balanced. So like there's going to be very clear winners of like what does the best damage or is the best synergy for a build and stuff like that. Then outside of that, you get basically the Roderick Cube in the game. So like there's legendaries in the game, and they have powers on them, and you can cube 3 of them in the end game. So I thought that was okay because I kind of like the Roderick Cube.
Yeah, I think the cubes are cool. It was a great addition to D3.
And then on top of that,
cool that they took it off.
yeah. And then on top of that, there is like, what's it called? Like relic. Like it's like a power tree that you level. It's like you pick it, you craft it, and then you like level it up so like it gets more powerful. It's like something you're leveling outside of your own character. And you get more like, it's like a skill twig.
What does this give you again? So it gives you skills. It gives you in-game power.
It gives you, I think I only saw like 1 skill per thing, but the rest are like passives to juice up that skill.
Okay.
Or no, it gives you like an ultimate and then maybe a skill on top of that.
And do you have choices in here, or are you just leveling?
Yeah, it seemed like there were, I wish I could pull it up. I think there were like 5 or 6 choices on like the relic you could choose.
So what about gameplay? How did it feel to shoot things and kill things? How did because the skills and stuff is one, but you can go into a game like Lost Ark and it's fun to kill stuff. It's just genuinely fun. So like, was it fun?
No.
Or was it?
I would compare it to like very early Diablo 3 gameplay where you have your skills and like you can kill stuff. And
So that's the exact reason why I didn't buy it. Like I was actually super excited. Like I woke up and I checked Twitter, and on my Twitter feed there was like a lot of like, oh, Torchlight dropped, and I'm like, oh shit. And so I jumped up and I ran down to my computer and I pulled Steam up, and I'm like, shit, it's there on Steam. And then I'm like getting ready to buy it, and I go, let me just see what it looks like first. And I went to some streams, and it was very slow paced, like early level Diablo, like you're moving at a snail's pace.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like shoot an enemy and he would die, and then you go and shoot another enemy and they die. And I was like, dude, that looks super sleeper,
Yeah.
you know. And so I was like, but it's early, you know, these guys clearly haven't had it that long. Maybe it's early level. So I'm like, let me sleep on it for a little bit. So the next day I went back and I watched more footage, and I'm like, well, it still looks about the same, you know. So ultimately that's why I decided to stop. So you haven't hit the cap on
No.
the early access yet?
No, I maybe I would have, but the server, I got to play like a good 5 hours yesterday before the servers went down, and then today they've been down for most of the day, I think. So yeah, I didn't get to play on the weekend.
So did you get any skills that felt like, oh, this is better? Like I could see it running at a pace that's faster.
I mean, I had a decent set of skills going. It just didn't like, it's like cooldowns, but like they didn't interact with each other or anything like that. They're just like skills. I don't know. And it is that cartoony feel. And yeah, I mean, there's that certain, you know, je ne sais quoi that you can't describe about a game where you just like, no. It's like when I played Call of Duty BR for the first time. Like, it wasn't any one particular thing that I hated about it. Like, it definitely has felt slower compared to Apex. But like when I played Apex for that first time, you just knew. Like, I was like, I like this game. Like, maybe you can't put a finger on exactly what it is you like, but like you just know. And this game definitely didn't have that so far. Now, you know, ask me again next week or the week after that, or whenever I have time to squeeze in more Torchlight 3. But it right now it doesn't feel great.
Yeah, that's what I saw. You know, it didn't, like, the things that really seem to matter. Like combat is super important in an ARPG.
Yeah.
And people that haven't, like, it's stupid because I talk about it every single podcast. But until I played Lost Ark, I didn't realize how good it could be. And I know dude, I'm tired of saying it.
Right.
I really am.
Yeah.
Because I just want everybody to shut up and go play it. Like, seriously, just fucking go play Lost Ark. And then you'll come back and you'll be like, okay, I see what can be done here now. I understand it. I get it. But combat is really important, and that can make a game a lot of fun. And then, so if the game's combat isn't super stellar and its itemization or skill choices aren't super stellar, then it's like, what are you going with? You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, first impression is not great.
So that sucks.
It does.
I was excited, man. I was genuinely excited because it felt like it came out of left field to me. I'm like, I haven't heard any Torchlight 3 news except for when they said, like, didn't they have we talked about it several podcasts back, a couple months back, where they're like, oh, we're gonna pull it and redesign it or something.
No, they I think we saw this coming because we kind of shit talked it a little bit because it was in beta and you could stream it, and then they decided to put an NDA on it. And we both got that, like, you know, like, why would you do that if your game was good? Like, you want to kind of generate hype.
Prior to that, even, I think that they had said, like, we're going to redesign it because it's not the vision we wanted. Or, man, I'll have to find.
They just rebranded.
Yeah,
it was Torchlight Frontiers, and they just rebranded Torchlight 3. That might be what you're thinking of.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
no changes with that.
That's gotta be it. That's gotta be the reason. Like, is because they knew. They're like, yo, you can't stream this because it's not gonna be favorable to the game. And I'm assuming that the early access came out because they need money to.
That's what people are saying. I don't have insight to that world, but some people have said, like, oh, this usually happens because they run out of money or something like that.
Yeah. So it's cool though. I mean, listen, it's in early access, and if you're an ARPG fan, like, check it out. Don't, you know, our opinions are our opinions. Like, your opinion could be different. And not only that, the more people that play it and give them constructive feedback, they can improve on the game.
Right.
You know? So
yeah, I will say, if you've got 30 holes burning a hole in your pocket, $30, right? Burning a hole in your pocket. Subscribe to the new meta on Patreon. And then if you still have another $30, then you can think about Torchlight. Yeah.
Level.
Yeah. Up your Patreon level, and then
we'll play
right.
a different game together. So, oh man, yeah, it's I'm glad I held off because you know what, I knew, man. I'm like, there's no fucking way Fluff's not gonna buy this instantly when he gets home.
Of course, the ARPG. Yeah,
and I'm like, man, if it would have looked like even decentish, I would have been like, okay, I'm down. I would have bought it and played it. But
I mean, the gameplay is smooth. It's just not very good right now. But that could change. Like maybe end game items are really in depth and like they have really cool powers and like,
it's early access. Like I'm not saying like the game's always going to be this way. Like it was. I think I don't know. Like Wolson, I jumped on ship with Wolson when it dropped out, and I was like,
Wolson was a bomb.
It was fun for like a night or two, but it's like ultimately there's more stuff in the pipeline that I'm like itching to buy. I'm like, I'm just but that's at least it's a thing. It's competition. Hopefully they'll get some good feedback and they'll take some of this funding and can get the game to a great spot. And do some cool stuff with the art style. If they're gonna take that kind of art style, I hope that they can really like make it feel unique and do some cool stuff with it. I need to look at some of their boss fights and mechanics and stuff and see.
Yeah, that's another thing too. I will say, like the boss fights were like it. Like the bullet sponge word that's used over and over again. Like a lot like the Borderlands 3 fights like felt like that. It's just like fucking hell. Like this thing just like lives forever. I'm not really being challenged. I'm kind of bored out of my mind. It's just like this fucking thing takes a shit ton of damage.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what everything felt like.
Yeah.
There's no dodge. That always bothers me as well. Any ARPG that comes out and this like a new ARPG that comes out and it has telegraphed attacks but it doesn't have a fucking dodge. Like why?
Spacebar has the dodge. Yeah.
Like just have a dodge.
Yeah. So then this is something that Lost Ark did so well. Like, do you remember, man, I don't even remember the name of any of their dungeons or even what they called them, but they had those like instance dungeon zones that you would group up with. You could find teammates for, right? They had one where you had to like climb up this well thing and like this Diablo looking monster came out and like smashed the top of it and started breathing fire at you. Do you remember that?
Of course. Yeah.
How cool was that shit the first time you did it?
Yeah.
You're like
dungeons are insane. I honestly thought the one that you're like on the flying ship or whatever, and then you like at some point in the dungeon you like jump into a mech and it's insane.
Oh yeah. Finish them out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like holy crap.
Yeah.
Now I immediately think of like, okay, if I was running this dungeon for like the 50th time, I'd probably want to blow my brains out. But at the same time, the first time, you're like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, and it's but all PvE content's like that though. Like think about any raid in any game ever. Like I don't care what game you played, if they have a raid, it could be Destiny, World of Warcraft, EverQuest, whatever. The 50th when you got it on farm mode, the 10th, the 15th, the 30th time you've done it, like you're just like fucking watching YouTube videos or like watching streamers, whatever. You're doing something else as you AFK through it. That's just the nature of PvE content is, raid style or dungeon style. That's what makes PvP so much fun. I think that's why there are so many people that tell me PvP doesn't belong in ARPGs. And I'm like, have you lost your fucking mind? I don't understand why you feel that way. Like nothing's going to make you have to do them, but it's PvP is an ever-changing unique experience every single time you play it. Like you're never going to have the exact same encounter every time you play because you're fighting other players who are going to make different choices.
Yeah.
So
crazy. People would be crazy.
But anyways, Torchlight 3 is it's a thing. Hopefully we'll get some updates and some new stuff. It'll be good. There's two things that I wanted to hit up that are kind of not ARPG related, but kind of maybe are. So first off, PlayStation 5 reveal happened this week.
Yeah, I'm actually interested for your review because I didn't follow it whatsoever.
So I watched the reveal. It was interesting, but super. It was slow. It wasn't what I expected. So they start off and they had like a list of launch titles, and they started showing like in-game footage of these games, and it looks sick. Like the new Spider-Man game that they have coming out looks ridiculous. I'm like, and it says in-game footage, like in footage or something on the thing. I'm like, holy crap, that looks crazy. But they talked about a whole bunch of launch titles before they finally revealed the console, and then they didn't even put like any hardware specs on there. I had to like go dig and find that shit too, which they have released it. But so have you seen it? You have seen what it looks like, right?
No, I haven't at all.
Okay, well, it'll be in this video. It's near the middle of this video. We'll see it. So we'll talk about that once it actually hits. And if you guys are listening to the audio version, you'll have to Google a picture of it real quick. But they got a list of games like Madden 21 is going to be at launch, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Cyberpunk 2077, obviously Destiny, Fortnite, Warframe are all announced. Horizon Zero Dawn is a Sony exclusive. That's a phenomenal game. They're going to have Horizon Zero Dawn 2. There's going to be a launch title on it, which that'll be really good. But then hardware spec wise, I was like, okay, so I looked up some hardware specs. It's got an 8-core AMD Zen 2 processor.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, so there it is. So that's what it looks like. I actually think it's kind of cool, man. I'm a super minority here.
I don't know, man. It looks like a computer tower case from the 90s.
They show more angles. Like let it.
Okay.
You want to hear some?
Don't stop. Computer stop.
I think it looks cool, man. I like the controller. I like the way it looks. It's got this soft blue glow to it, which I think is badass. And they have 2 different editions. One's got an optical drive and one's purely digital, so you can just buy your games off the PlayStation Store, which would make PlayStation more money, and prevent reselling games. But so it's a thing, and I think it's still got a USB port on the front, which blows my fucking mind how it's not purely USB-C. It's got a USB-C port right below it, but still it. So, anyways, I think it's okay looking, man. And the controller I think looks kind of cool too.
Does it have to be white?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm sure they'll make different colors later on, but I think launch is going to be white. I think it looks futuristic and coolish. It looks like that sci-fi fantasy futuristic world where everybody wears like white uniforms and shit, with the black offset.
It just looks like a nerdy fucking computer tower to me.
Yeah, people are saying on the internet that it looks like a modem.
Sorry, I'm not sure about
I swear to God. I keep saying the C word.
Oh, what C word? How dare you?
Forbidden one.
Yeah. So, anyways, hardware spec wise, it's going to have an AMD 8-core. I think it's a Ryzen architecture. I don't know if it's Ryzen 2 or Ryzen 3 or whatever, but 8-core processor. I don't really know how powerful it's going to be, but 8 cores is enough so they can multitask a little bit. But the GPU power is 10.28 teraflops, and I know a lot of you guys are like, "Well, what the fuck does that mean?" I don't understand what a teraflop is. To put it in perspective, a 1080 Ti, which is what I have in my gaming machine, is 11.3 teraflops, so slightly more. But a 1080, the non-Ti variant, is 9 teraflops. So it's more powerful than a 1080 graphics card. And then you put that with the Ryzen 8-core processor, you're looking at an okay machine. Like it's going to be a pretty nice gaming machine of current gen. Is it going to be, they're claiming 4K 60? Like, listen, I got a 1080 Ti and 8700K, and I can hit 4K 60 on some titles, not every title all the time. Like an example was Assassin's Creed Odyssey. On my machine with a 1080 Ti and an 8700K, both of them super overclocked, like to the max. I could hit 60 most of the time, but in crowded scenes, I'd drop in the 40s, 45, 46. They didn't say, I can't find any information on high frame rate, like 1080p 120 frames would be a minimum requirement for me. Like, God, I hope that both these new consoles can do that. So hopefully that's a thing. But you got to realize that consoles, I don't know if they're more efficient than PC, but it seems like you get higher frame rates, and maybe because they optimize the games specifically for the console so they can get a little bit better frame rate. But it's going to be powerful-ish. And then it's got, 448 gigs a second of memory bandwidth. and then 5.5 gigs a second of hard drive access, raw access. And if you compress that data, it can actually do it at 8 to 9 gigs a second. So to put that in perspective, I have an M.2 970 Pro SSD in my machine. I benchmark it at 3.5 gigs a second, which that's like, a Samsung 970 Pro is a nice M.2 drive. That's, good current gen hardware. And the PlayStation is going to be 2 gigs faster than that. That's pretty fast. So it's going to be powerful, man. It's going to be over twice as powerful as the PlayStation Pro and Xbox One X, just in raw horsepower.
Sure. But just get a PC, dude.
Yeah. But yeah. So, it's gonna. They're pinpointing the price at $500, and maybe $450 for the optical driveless version. So for $500, I mean, you couldn't rebuild my PC for $500. Like, you couldn't even come close. Like, the 1080 Ti costs $500 still today.
Yeah. Accessibility, right?
So, yeah. So it's a thing that will at least be, if you don't have a lot of money or you're a console gamer, like, it's going to be cool. It's definitely a step up, and it's definitely going to be next gen if you're a console player. If you're a PC player, it's going to be like, oh, consoles are finally like competing with 2018, 19 hardware, which is cool. But that being said, there's also been new GPU leaks that have come out, and this is the second thing I wanted to hit on.
Okay.
Like some NVIDIA shit dropped where the 3080 and maybe even a 3090 Ti, and they haven't had a 90 series graphics card since the 600 series. It's been a long time. Have leaked, and the rumors is that the 3090 Ti is going to be 50% more powerful than a 2080 Ti.
Jesus.
Yeah, which is like, we're talking about some legit power behind these bad boys.
But what game can utilize it?
I mean, I'll get one instantly on launch day if they launch, because my 1080 Ti at 2K, which is 1440p resolution at 144 hertz, or 165 is what my monitor runs, but 144 hertz, I can't get every game to hit that 144 benchmark. An example is GTA 5. It's just a shit optimized game that needs ridiculous horsepower to hit that. Games like Overwatch or Destiny, they hit it fine. I don't know, like PoE, for an example, I'm not sure if it hits that 2K 144 mark consistently when like lots of shit's going on crazy. So
maybe with Vulkan.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Their new renderer.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. I haven't had problems with PoE feeling laggy. It feels fine when I play it, but I haven't really benchmarked it either. I haven't gone to like crazy spots and like, oh, does this hit this? Even Diablo, for an example, Diablo 3, which is a fucking potato. Like, and that's probably more CPU and engine based than anything. Throwing a higher, a 3080 Ti or 90 Ti probably won't fix that either. But even in Diablo, if the scenes get crazy, like, my frame rate will drop, below optimal. So I'm excited for it, man. If you guys are a PC enthusiast like I am, or like, I'm a console fan. I'm not a PC master race only. Like, I do like it. I do play console.
Would you play console if it wasn't for the exclusives, though?
On some titles, like an example would be GTA 5. I love GTA 5, but the cheating and modding and hacking in that game is so rampant. It makes Diablo look like child's play. It's so bad.
Is that a PC thing?
It's definitely a PC thing. They cheat on console a little bit, but not near as bad as PC. I mean, it's like a fraction, 1/100th as much as PC. PC is just every single lobby you get in has a cheater in it. It's just a matter of, are they going to screw with you? You know what I mean? Like, every single lobby has hackers and cheaters in it. So I actually counted last week, every night when I start streaming GTA, I would put in the title, like the lobby I was in and the amount of hackers, like 3 for 3 on hackers or 4 for 4. And I did that for the whole week, and I never got a lobby without one. Once I started to go PvP people, the hackers come out because they're like, oh, this guy's shitting on everybody. Let's go fuck with them. And then they'll start cheating and hack me. So,
yeah.
So on console, that's not a thing, though. You don't have to deal with that as bad.
Is it because like mods? Like, can you get GTA mods on PC or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they run a third-party program. It's just like Diablo or any other game. You run a third-party program that modifies the memory and executable.
At what point did the bubbles come out of the PlayStation?
I don't know.
That's false. Let's take PlayStation 5 to court, right? Red Bull doesn't give you wings.
I like the reveal that they had all. I like the reveal that they have all the games and stuff in there, and they had the developers even on talking about making the games and explaining some of the tech behind the games. But I feel like they should have opened with like, yo, here's PlayStation 5, check it out. Here's the hardware stats, check it out. Now check out all these sweet games that are going to launch, and then gone into the games. But what they did is they were like, here's 30 minutes of game reveals, and then they showed the controller. And then here's like 10 minutes of game reveals, and then, oh, we're going to throw the sweet headset on there. And then like, here's 10 more, and then finally you get the big PlayStation hardware reveal, and then it was like more games. And I'm like, what are you guys like? No, man, I want to see the juice. Like, that's what I came for, you know? So,
yeah. All I've seen from the PlayStation 5 reveal is have you seen the doc clip where he's got the controller? No. Okay. You should check it out. It's pretty funny.
What did he do?
He's just like being the doc and yeah, it's pretty funny.
That's it, man. That's all the non-ARPG news that I had. So,
yeah. Right on.
Yep.
I don't think I had anything else.
Let's get Twitter questions.
Yeah. Let's do it.
If you guys want to submit Twitter questions to the podcast, you know where to do it at. On our Twitters, in our Discords. We both have new meta sections in the Discord, or you can tweet directly at us on Twitter. If you're not following us, you should be. Gerard says, Fluff, when are you going to post your updated Necro guides for season 21?
I'll probably wait until the patch is live, I guess. Like, I honestly thought we would have more time and we would see a second round of Necro changes so that I could start like recording some footage and stuff like that. But
it's really silly to make the guides before the stuff's final.
Yeah.
Because if it changes, you just wasted hours. It takes a long time to make YouTube videos, dude. Yep. Actually, people think it's fast, but it's really a ton of work.
Right. Especially the fucking shit that I put in mine, man. Like the little frame by frame and the things that animate. Like, that shit takes time, boys.
Yeah, it takes a long time. So you don't want to waste all your time and then have to go back and like re-record all the footage. Pixel Gamer 51 says, do you think Diablo 3 is going to get future meaningful patches now that we have the last two sets completed? How many seasons do you think we have left before we get recycled seasonal themes?
That's a great question, because I think that this patch showed how powerful non-set changes can be. If you look at Necro, like we're arguably getting more Necro builds than we've seen since like the season 12 because of all the legendaries they updated. Like the set is like, it was sleeper like compared to the other changes we got this patch for the Necro. So I think they can make really impactful changes just by updating the legendaries and like making them like even just adding damage mods on some of the ones that don't get utilized, just rehashing the meta season after season. I think that it's more exciting to revamp legendaries than it is to add new sets.
Yeah. I would say in the grand scheme of things, of all the sets that we got, the only one to me that was like, damn, this is really dope, is the Witch Doctor. That's the only one that I've really been like, oh, I have to play that because it just looks so fun. And I hated Witch Doctor before, so I'm glad they did because it gives me a reason to play it. But other than that, like if I look back and think at the sets, like I really love Strafe, and I hope the Demon Hunter set turns out to be good. It feels like it's missing something still. The Necro set, no. Hydra set, no.
I will say the Crusader set, like I like the Fist of Heavens, but
I agree. Yeah.
I just wanted it to not be shotgun. I wanted it to be the beams from the sky, and I think that would have had everything that I wanted in the Crusader. But the fact that it's shotgun and not the beams from the sky, like it feels bad.
Yeah, the Crusader set was good too. What else did we get, man? Fury for the Barb wasn't, super great, in my opinion. Yeah, it's not bad, I guess. What was the other one am I missing?
Necro.
What was that? Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just like Crusader and Witch Doctor feel great, and then the other one's not so much. So they didn't really impact the game that much to me. I don't know, man. I think we're gonna start getting recycled seasonal themes pretty soon. I would say after season 21. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a recycled season theme. I wouldn't be surprised if we start hitting a loop. But I would say one or two more tops, man. I don't think we're gonna keep getting them for a long time.
I don't know, man. I tend to think that we're gonna get continued legendaries until we see the next iteration of something new from the Diablo universe.
You think we're gonna keep getting seasonal themes until D4?
Mm-hmm. And then once the next iteration comes out, then we'll get recycled. I think, honestly.
Yeah, 100%. Once D4 hits, we're not gonna get new stuff. But Speaking of PS5, off topic, do you think we're gonna get? I mean, obviously, Diablo 4 is being designed for console, so it's gonna be a PS5, Xbox Series X title. I mean, not a launch title, clearly, but
God, how shitty would it be if Diablo 4 was like PS4 or PS5 exclusive or something for the first 2 weeks?
Oh my god,
I would fucking rage so hard.
Sony's got big dollars to throw around. They do that shit, man. They so do that shit. They're like, oh, we want some exclusivity. But what if they have, first on PlayStation 2 weeks? Okay, that's cool. What if they're like, get these transmogs, get these items, get this character class exclusive? Like example is Destiny. Get this strike, get this dungeon exclusively on PlayStation. Some nice.
That's our thing. That sucks.
Destiny did that for a long, not anymore, but they did it for all of Destiny 1.
For how long? Did it ever come out on the other ones?
After Destiny 2 came out.
Fuck. That's hard.
Yeah, dude. There was there were several exotic weapons that were the shit, and Xbox never got them until D2 had launched.
That's
never
fucking crazy.
Was it Ace of Spades? It might have been Ace of Spades. It was a big time gun, man. And it was just like, wow, dude. Wow. You guys never had it. Jade Rabbit, maybe? I don't know. Big time guns that people loved. And dungeons and strikes and, or strikes, I guess I should call them. So yeah, man, that's a thing, dude. And Sony's like, they got that cash. They're like, all right, we'll do it.
Yeah, I guess. Spend money, make money.
I mean, if it does come out, I really hope that they support at least cross save. Like, let me take my character on PlayStation. Let me take my character to PC. So. Hex says you get transported back to 2019 with all the knowledge that you currently have in 2020. What's something you would do differently?
Wait, can you say it one more time? I was reading something.
Yeah. It says Hex says you get transported back to 2019 with all the knowledge you currently have in 2020. What's something you would do differently? Like, all this crazy shit's gonna go down.
Ooh, invest in M95 masks.
I thought about that too. I thought about like stocking up on things so you could like maybe flip them and resell and make money.
And they shut that down pretty quick, but they still the first few weeks to a month, like they made a lot of money. So
that hand sanitizer dude, they got fucked and he spent like what $100K or $200K on hand sanitizer, and then he had to donate it. So, stock up on TP, that's for sure, dude. I got low for a while, man. I couldn't find it because it wasn't something like I don't keep like crazy amounts of TP at the house. You know what I mean? I have like a bag, and then this shit went crazy, and I'm like, it's not gonna get that crazy. And then it got to a point where it's like, well, hey, if we run out in the next couple of days, I'll go to my job and just clean out the closet because I have keys to that. I'll get us some there.
Yeah.
Luckily, we found some, but it was, I don't know, man. Honestly, there's not a whole lot I would change, I guess. I don't really know what I could do to prevent any of this from happening. It's not like there's things I could stock up on or get that would change my lifestyle drastically. So
yeah,
it's crazy this though. Spellsteel says, what is your I put that shit on everything item? I guess like Frank's hot sauce or something. For me, it's super easy. Like I
do put Frank's on. It's really just pizza crust. Honestly, I don't put it on much else. Peanut butter. I like peanut butter a lot. Yeah.
For me, it's ketchup, dude. I put ketchup on.
That's fucking gross.
Ketchup
is the worst.
Hamburgers, like steak.
Ketchup. You put ketchup on steak?
On steak, bro. It's so good.
Oh
Chicken.
my god. Oh my god. That is up there. That's up there with like the people breakfast versus sausage argument. Ketchup on steak? That should be the follow-up. No one's gonna agree with you.
That one like triggers everybody. Yeah. And they're like, dude, was that ketchup? I'm like, yeah, man. Have you tried it? It's fucking delicious. And they're like, no. My wife absolutely hates it. It pisses her off. Like she'll cook like chicken, pork chops, steak, whatever. It doesn't matter, right? And she's like, try this. I'm like, oh, there's no ketchup on it. Put some ketchup on it. And she's like, no, you don't need ketchup. And I'm like, yeah. And so she'll like bitch until I finally take a bite with no ketchup. And I'm like, yeah, that was good. It'd be so much better with ketchup. And she's like, oh my God. She gets mad. Literally gets mad at me.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Ketchup. Dude. You don't have that
on
thing?
Chicken? You put ketchup on like grilled chicken?
Yeah, like if I'm eating it off the bone, probably not. But like a lot of times
Like
I'll
a chicken
cut
breast.
Yeah, chicken breast for sure.
Put ketchup on a chicken breast. That's fucking disgusting.
I'll cut it. I'll stab it with the fork, and I'll dip it in the ketchup.
Fuck. We ate together plenty of times. I don't know if I ever saw you reach for the ketchup bottle.
Well, did we eat things? Like we had pizza.
Yeah.
We had. You don't put ketchup on tacos. We had tacos and pizza and pasta. Like you don't put it on pasta.
Okay.
We just haven't been to
a thing.
A thing, man.
I guess.
Yeah. Or maybe
if we go to an Indian food place when you visit KC and you put fucking ketchup on anything, I'm sending you right back.
I'm gonna. I'll try it. I'll try it straight up. But then if I'm like, listen, I think. Oh, you know what's really good? Ketchup on pizza rolls, man.
Pizza rolls and ketchup. It's already got tomato sauce in it. What do you mean?
No, try it. I'm just.
No, I hate ketchup. I hate ketchup with a passion. It just tastes like metal. It's just gross.
It makes them spicy. It brings out a spiciness for some reason. I don't know why.
You know, Lindsay's mom won't eat ketchup because it's too spicy. That blows my mind. Like finding ketchup spicy.
It's not spicy, but if you put it on pizza rolls, it brings out a spice, and I don't know why. But it's not like I like spicy food. Like I eat, jalapenos on my nachos, and I've tried the fucking ghost peppers at the restaurants and shit, and burned my mouth off. Like I don't mind spicy, but no, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
I don't know. That's it.
We got one more.
Okay.
Someone tweeted at us.
Oh, okay, I missed it.
From the Real Puentes. Have either of you spent any time in the ESO online worlds? Any thoughts on gameplay and if it would translate well as a Diablo PoE type of game? Thanks. Hashtag New Meta Podcast.
I haven't played Elder Scrolls Online. Have you?
I remember playing the beta, like before it went live. And then recently, like my IRL friends have been like super into it. And so I was like looking into it again.
Like, do they have updates in it? Like, why are they back into it? Like, hasn't that shit been out?
Well,
since,
they're into it because it was on the Xbox Game Pass or something last month.
I have that. Hold on, let me see.
Or maybe March, like right before quarantine.
Oh, yeah, it's usually in there forever. Let's see. Oh, you mean for Xbox? They're playing it on console?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Really?
Yeah. Fuck that. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know it wasn't cross-platform, so that immediately turned me off. But I looked into it again. It had like a Necro, so I was like, oh, like I like Necro. But honestly, it's just like the MMO formula just like doesn't really do it for me anymore. It was cool to see like you could be a Necro tank. I was like, oh, okay, like I'm down with that. But I don't know. Yeah, it's like I had to spend money to like play the Necro, to even play the game on PC. So I was like, fuck it.
I don't know a lot about it. It came out in 2014. I just looked it up. I thought Elder Scrolls Online was like way older than that. But I thought it came out way before that. But no, I haven't seen it. I have watched some gameplay of it. And it looked okay-ish. Let's see. Oh, was that another one?
Yeah, we
had.
Yeah. On Discord.
Some late arrivals.
Yeah. Well, this the tweet one was like last week. But.
Omega Crits. So, back to the thing. So no, I don't know a lot about Elder Scrolls Online. I like MMOs a lot. How could you relate that to Diablo? Was that part of the question?
Yeah, I think it's like the question is. I think ESO would work as an isometric ARPG. I think it could do pretty well because a lot of it's like about discovery and like crafting and just exploring and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it could work.
I think that discovery and explorability is something that an ARPG could do. That Diablo-ish, Diablo, I could do a better job of.
Yeah,
I don't feel like there's a lot of exploration.
No,
really.
Yeah,
it's just like zipping through and killing.
Totally. And like Torchlight 3 is like you're in a lane. Like there's no question like, oh my god, I'm at this open world. Where do I go? It's like it's a fucking lane. Like they're telling you where to go. Like Diablo 3 campaign, like they're just telling you where to go.
I would like to see it be so open that it's like there's really not a lot of boundaries as to where you go. Like you drop down, and like if there's mountains, like you can traverse the mountains and find paths to go through and get around. And then if you go up a mountain and there's a creature that kicks your ass, then you're like, oh shit, okay, I'm gonna remember that and come back here later on when I have more power. So I think that's something that Diablo could definitely expand on. And again, that's another quality from MMOs I think they could steal, because WoW feels gigantic. If you tried to walk around WoW, it's huge, and it's like there's exploration and things there, at least when you initially start playing. So
yeah.
Omega Crits asked, he said, if Blizzard focused more on legendary item buffs instead of creating new sets and improving old sets, wouldn't LOD end up being the go-to for all classes? Would that be better or worse?
Well, yeah, I mean, this goes back to it's hard to balance around LOD. For Necro, I feel like it's almost going to be impossible to beat LOD. But for a lot of classes, it's not. It's like on par, or might not even be as good as the set. So it's like very hard to balance across the board and like make a general statement about all classes.
Will always be the sets.
Yeah.
Like unless they're changing them, they're always going to be what they are.
Right.
And if they're good enough to do T16s fastly, or they're good enough to do 130s or whatever the case is, if LOD beats a set, that's fine. The set's still there and playable if you want it. Just like we still play LOD, even if it's not better than a set now, maybe for speeds or something else. So I think Diablo's best thing that they can continue to do to keep players engaged is to keep switching up what you play. Yeah. So if one season you're playing XYZ comp, the next season, let's play completely different things. Let's play a new meta, a new 4-player meta, a new speed meta, maybe make some new T16 builds that are slightly better, or, at least competitive. Because that keeps people interested. Like an example is rats. Like rats are fun, man. I loved rats when they first came out. It was awesome. But after we did season 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, all the way up to 20 of rats, like we don't care anymore. Not because it's not fun or because it's sucky. It's just it's the same shit for too long. So to me, if they can totally, and it's so much work to rebalance the meta or metas and some single player stuff every season, that would be perfect. And if LOD is the shit for 1 or 2 seasons, fine. And then next season, okay, so like put out a document that says, hey, we nerfed LOD because of here's our reasoning, and explain to people why they nerfed it. And then like we brought these sets back up because LOD's been in the limelight for too long. So we want to focus on these sets for a little bit. And then 2 or 3 seasons later, flip it around again. Yeah. That's my opinion. So
cool.
That's it, man. That's all the questions we had this week. If you guys want to submit questions, you know where to find us. Discord, Twitters. Those are the good spots. You can hit us up. Discord is honestly the best place, because I am 100% going to check those. And you can also tweet at us. We'll try to make sure that we get them. If I miss your question, always come yell at me in Discord. Be like, hey, P, you missed my question, and we'll get it next week.
Yeah.
You guys want to catch more of me? I'm at ThaPChild everywhere. Twitter's, Twitch, YouTube.
Yeah. And I'm Lord_Fluffy. Double those underscores on the Twitters. We'll see you boys next week after P-Child's played 2 days, or maybe a weekend full of Path of Exile Harvest. Can you believe it?
I guess I committed. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, he's backing out already. Oh my God.
Please, some other game drop a huge update before Friday. Like, I don't know.
Jesus Christ. All right, we're out of here.